All right, let's talk about something that I think drives every single one of us a little bit crazy. Why is it that the super ambitious, get it done person you are in the morning just evaporates by the time dinner rolls around? What is really going on there? Let's get into it. You know this feeling, right? You wake up, you've got a plan, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to work on that big project. Maybe you'll finally start writing that book. But then 8 p.m. hits, and where are you? Probably on the couch, scrolling through your phone, and all those big plans are just gone. What on earth happens in those 12 hours? Well, our first instinct is usually to blame ourselves. We think, I just don't have enough discipline, or I'm just lazy. But what if that's not it at all? What if the real reason isn't some flaw in your character, but something much deeper, something baked into your own biology? And that brings us to the main idea here. Willpower isn't some moral virtue that you either have or you don't. The science suggests it works a lot more like a battery. It's a finite resource, and it gets drained all day long. Now, to really understand this, we have to go back in time a bit, to the late 90s, and talk about a really cool experiment by a psychologist named Roy Baumeister. It's a surprisingly simple setup that involves some hungry college students, some fresh cookies, and, well, radishes. Okay, so picture this. You're a hungry student, you walk into a lab, and it smells absolutely incredible, like someone just pulled a batch of chocolate chip cookies out of the oven. Now, one group of students, they get to eat the cookies. Lucky them. But the other group, oh, they have to resist those warm, amazing cookies and instead eat boring, plain old radishes. Can you imagine? The real test, though, came after. Both groups were given a puzzle that was actually impossible to solve, just to see how long they'd stick with it. And the results were just stunning. The students who had to use their self-control, the poor souls who had to resist the cookies, they gave up on that puzzle 50% faster than the group that got to indulge. It wasn't that their willpower was weak. It was just used up. This tells us something huge about how our minds work. This whole phenomenon got a name. Ego depletion. The big idea is that every single time you use self-control, whether you're resisting a cookie or forcing yourself to focus on a boring spreadsheet, you're drawing from the exact same limited energy source. So by the evening, that tank is pretty much on empty. Now, I should mention, while this theory is super influential, the whole idea of ego depletion has been part of a big scientific debate recently. But it still gives us a really powerful way to think about why our energy just disappears during the day. So if our willpower is a battery, what's draining it so fast? Well, the main culprit has a name: decision fatigue. And it's the reason your brain feels totally fried long before your body is even tired. Just think about it. From the second you wake up, your brain is firing off choices. What should I wear? What am I going to have for breakfast? Should I answer this email now or do it later? Each one of these tiny, seemingly meaningless decisions makes a small withdrawal from your willpower account. You know, some of the most successful people on the planet seem to get this intuitively. Steve Jobs with his black turtleneck, Obama with his identical suits, Mark Zuckerberg with his gray t-shirts. They weren't just being weird, they were being smart. They were deliberately getting rid of tiny decisions to save their mental energy for the stuff that actually mattered. They were protecting that willpower battery. And that leads to a really important, maybe even uncomfortable question for all of us. We tend to save our most important goals, writing that book, learning that new skill, starting that business, for the evening. We are literally scheduling our biggest dreams for the exact moment our biological ability to do them is at its absolute lowest. We're basically setting ourselves up to fail from the get-go. So, if willpower is so unreliable, what are we supposed to do? Well, the answer isn't to just try harder. It's to build systems that make willpower almost completely unnecessary. So how do we do that? We need a framework that works with our biology, not constantly fighting against it. And here it is. It's called the time, place, and trigger framework. It's a really simple 3-part system that's designed to put your most important work on autopilot. No more needing to be a willpower superhero every single night. First up, time. We have to stop scheduling our deep work based on fantasy. Instead, figure out when your energy and focus are naturally at their highest. For most of us, that's in the first 2 or 3 hours of the day. That window, that's sacred ground. It should be reserved for your number one most important task before the day has a chance to drain your battery. Okay, next is place. Your environment is never neutral. It's either helping you focus or it's actively hurting you. The whole goal here is to design a space where doing the important work is the easiest thing to do, and getting distracted is actually hard. You want to make distractions inconvenient. Just think about it this way. Every little bit of energy you spend fighting the urge to check a notification on your phone or resisting the black holes of social media is energy you can't use for your actual work. So by creating a special space and literally putting those distractions out of reach, you're not just avoiding temptation, you're making productivity the default path of least resistance. And finally, the trigger. This one is like a secret weapon. It's a super simple, totally repeatable 5-minute ritual that you do every single time before you start your deep work. It could be something like pouring coffee into a specific mug or opening up a notebook to a fresh page. The action itself isn't what matters, it's the consistency. This little ritual becomes a cue for your brain that says, okay, it's time to focus, and it completely bypasses the need to feel motivated. So when you put all of this together, it really forces you to completely rethink what words like success and discipline even mean. It's not about being some kind of willpower warrior. This quote right here just nails the whole idea perfectly. The most productive, disciplined people you know, they aren't winning some heroic battle against temptation every night. They've just designed their lives so that the right choice is the easy choice. That battle never even has to start. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Your biggest goals, your most important projects, the work that is actually going to change your life, that work deserves your full battery. It deserves your best, freshest energy, not the tired, depleted leftovers you have at the end of a long day. So I'll leave you with this question. Forget about trying to magically have more willpower tomorrow. Instead, just ask yourself this. What one system, what tiny change in your time, place, or trigger can you build today that will make your success tomorrow feel almost inevitable?